Page 8.
Yeah. Are you Joe Greathouse?
Sir.
Mr. Greathouse, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. So he also has an evading arrest in a motor vehicle and an FSRA.
Yes, Judge.
Dead body?
No, Judge.
Okay,
Not as far as you're aware.
all right.
Yes, Judge. The officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas, after observing the defendant driving a blue Corvette on the wrong side of the road. The officer could clearly see that the defendant was in the driver's seat and the witness, a female, was in the passenger seat. The defendant refuses to stop, and the officer observed the defendant to run 3 stop signs. The officer lost sight of the defendant, but heard over the radio that a blue Corvette hit a cyclist 2 lights ahead of where the officer lost sight of the defendant. The witness informed the officers that the defendant lost control of his car, hit a pole, and then hit the complainant on her bicycle. The witness stated the defendant left the scene after hitting the complainant. The officers shortly thereafter located the defendant's vehicle and conducted a felony traffic stop. At this point, the defendant was in the passenger seat while the female witness was in the driver's seat. A DWI investigation began after the officers observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, slurred speech, and glossy eyes from the defendant. The defendant refused all SFSTs and refused a breath sample. A search warrant was signed and executed.
Intoxication assault?
I mean, this is a fairly recent case, Judge, so we don't have any medical records or anything back, but I've been in contact with BCD about potentially.
What's the condition of the complaining witness? Do we know?
What I believe, just from what we have, just from I think the DIMS, is that she has a broken leg and that I know she was transported to Memorial Department, but that's all we have so far.
Mr. Greathouse, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now not to drive at all. You will be signing an affidavit with me, promising me you're not going to drive. I don't care what is going on in your life. I don't care if Jesus comes down and needs a ride to church. You drive. And every time you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You will be facing 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you get into a car and drive. Do you understand? I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to randomly test you. In fact, I'm going to send you now for a drug test because I want to know what, if anything, is in your system. Felicia, I'd like to send them now.
Yes.
If you fail to go take a drug test, if you fail to come back, I'm going to make your bond extremely high. Do you understand?
Sure.
Prior to you leaving now, though, you will be promising me that you're not going to drive for any reason. I am also going to put a Scram ankle monitor on your leg so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. If I find that you consume alcohol, and I don't care what the source is, then likewise you will go to jail. Do you know that every single day in Houston, in Harris County, someone dies from an alcohol-related collision? Every single day, someone dies in our county because of alcohol. It is a sick, a disgustingly sick and sobering statistic. Every day, someone dies. I don't want you to say anything, but I want you to understand that I will do everything in my power. Every resource that I have, I will use at my disposal to prevent anyone from dying under my watch. And if that means putting you in jail and making your bond $500,000, I will do it in a heartbeat. All I'm asking you to do are several things. Don't drive and don't use. Do you understand? Okay, I want to send it for a test now, and then we'll have them come right back, and then we'll finish with bond conditions.
And how many days for this round?
Today, I'm going to have you swear to us that you're not going to drive, and then we'll send you for the test right now.
Harris?
Oh, I want to order a guardian interlock as well. That way, at least DPS has notice if he's in a car driving. He's not supposed to be. Vic, thanks. Good morning, Mr. Harris.
Morning, how you doing, Your Honor?
Sir, you're charged with resisting arrest. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On October 26, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a suspicious person. The complainant stated a phone had been beating on his door for 15 minutes. While the officers were speaking to the complainant pointed out the defendant as the person who had been knocking. The complainant had a ring camera to show the defendant was the person knocking on the door. The defendant admitted to being intoxicated, and the officer advised the defendant to go home and stop bothering the complainant. The officer left, but shortly after, the complainant called back, stating the defendant was damaging property in the bed of the complainant's truck. The officer returned and attempted to detain the defendant. While the officers were reaching for the defendant's wrist, the defendant yanked his arms back twice away from the officer. The defendant was being placed under arrest for public intoxication.
Now's not the time. Okay, you will get the opportunity to fight the case. Just now's not the time. I've got a bunch of DAs here. Anything you say, they're going to use it against you. It's just not the time. Mr. Harris, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to lock you up. I'm not asking much. I'm also ordering you not to go back to this place. Do you understand? What do you do for a living, sir? What do you do for a living?
What I do for a living, nothing as of right now.
How old are you?
23.
You graduate from high school.
I did, sir.
Okay, so what are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Looking for a job. I had just currently moved to a new address, so I'm looking in the area for a job.
When is the last time you've had a job?
The end of May, beginning June.
Which year?
This year. I was at Pilot gas station. I was a cashier and a / field attendant.
What you start?
I had moved. Like I said, I moved it into a different address.
So how are you getting money now? Who do you live with?
My mom and my stepfather.
It's time for you to start working.
Of course.
Too much time on your hands, you're becoming self-destructive. This is not a good way to go through life, Mr. Harris. You know, you got no job, you got no money, you got no prospects. The older you get, the harder life becomes. If you don't have a job, if you ain't got no knowledge, you'll go nowhere in life, penniless when you're 50. That's not a way to go through life. So I want you to get a full-time job. I'm making that a condition of your bond. You understand?
And sir, I do have footage of me not resisting this on my aunt's security camera.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to put that out
I'm
there.
going to appoint your lawyer today. My only concern is that you make something of yourself, Mr. Harris.
Of course, of course.
One of those statistically just nothing bums that have nothing.
I plan on going to college as well, so I will do something with my life.
Your lawyer today. I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks, and I want to see what you've done to get a job. If you've done nothing, it's not going to go well between us. Do you understand? Okay. Let me see if I have an application. I need you to fill out an application for me. Deputy's going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to have you go to Victoria Sign of Reset, and then I'm going to have you take your seat in the jury box. Okay? All right.
Johnson.